Well, good morning. It's good to be with you on this wonderful Wednesday morning. It's been cold in Mississippi, as we complained about yesterday. And so today we're going to talk about grumbling, which is a very appropriate text for me to think about in this weather we're in. So it is good to be with you. I'm excited about church. We have our wrap night for our birthday gift for Christ ministry, one of the great ministries of our church. I'm excited about that. Excited about the coming days. A week from we're almost at Christmas, y'all. We're getting close. So many good things happening. Hope that no matter where you find yourself, that you find yourself with grace and joy and love and all these wonderful things of the season. Today we're going to be. I mentioned yesterday we're he's chopping up another passage. We are going to read today the second part of a James passage. James, we're reading James 9 and 10. This is James chapter 5, verses 9 and 10. Beloved, do not grumble against one another, so that you may not be judged. See, the judge is standing at the doors. As an example of suffering and patience, beloved, take the prophet who spoke in the name of the Lord. So we two things. There's two things that I think are interesting in this passage. This whole thing's talking about patience. So he first says, don't grumble. Um Grumbling is complaining are interesting. Um what I mean by that is this. You I'm trying to think of a good example of this, but you know how you can use food coloring to dye eggs, right? I'm trying to think of the best example I can think of. This one I can think of. It's like you get your little cups with water in. You put some food color in there. You can put the hard-boiled eggs in that water and the food coloring that's in the water. You just put the egg in there, and it will soak it up. It will absorb it. It will change the color of the egg. The food coloring just as the egg stays in that water with the food coloring. In time, it will absorb the food coloring and will change the color of the egg. So that's what we absorb things that we're around, and things that we're around can change how things look and feel. The longer I live, the more I think that's what complaining does. If you're around me much at all, now, okay, listen. I complain about the cold weather. That's a gimmick. It's a joke. Everybody, I mean, now let me be clear. I am cold at all times. So while the gimmick is a gimmick, it's also true. I'm cold. I'm broken. Something inside of me doesn't work. I'm always cold. But it's for laughs and giggles. I mean, I do it because it's funny. Well, I think it amuses me. Don't know if it amuses you, but it makes me laugh. And if it makes me laugh, that's good enough. Okay. So, but if you are around me, I try my best not to complain. I really try my best not to complain about things. And I'm gonna be honest, you may have noticed this. If I'm in a conversation and there's a lot of complaining going on, I'm probably gonna try to exit the conversation fairly quickly because I don't like what complaining does to my soul. I don't like what complaining does to how I feel. COVID taught me that. It was such a negative time with COVID. Everything was, honestly, it's been negative around here for in the world for a long time, hasn't it? But I found myself when I was around a lot of complaints, I just got down. I didn't feel good. It just changed my mood. It changed how I felt. It just changed so much. And so I began to realize I don't want to be around a lot of complaining. It isn't good for my soul. It isn't good for how I feel. It isn't good for what I'm doing. So I try my best outside of my complaining about cold weather and things like that. I try my best to not complain a lot. Now, I complain to Holly, obviously, because you're allowed to complain to your spouse, but I try not to complain because I don't think it helps my sanctification to complain a lot. Likewise, I don't really like to be around a lot of complaining because I don't think that helps my sanctification. I think both of those things kind of make me a worse Christian. So I try to avoid them. So James today says, beloved, do not grumble against one another, that you may not be judged. So complaining against each other, friends, it's not good. If there is an issue that you have with someone, if there's something going on in your life that you have a problem with somebody, have a conversation with them. Don't bring in another person into the situation. But if you have a legitimate concern or legitimate problem with somebody, talk to them. Uh, do the pay them the honor of having a conversation with them. That's how relationships are preserved. So don't just grumble. Don't just grumble. Don't just complain and grumble. It doesn't help anyone or anything. So, and then he says here, and take the example of suffering and patience, beloved. Take the prophets who spoke the name of the Lord. So in the Old Testament, the prophets, they spoke the name of the Lord. What happened to them? Read Hebrews 11. They got chopped in half. They were not always admired and respected. Some were, but a lot weren't. A lot of them were beaten and abused and spit upon and mocked. So they were being faithful to a higher calling. Hebrews 11 is such an instructive chapter because it says they suffered these things, but they were looking for a country, not a home, not of this world, a home not made with human hands, but eternal in the heavens, made by God the Father. So they could bear with patience the abuse they took because they weren't looking for anything of this world. They were looking for something better, something truer, something of true value. And so they could be patient because they knew where their hope was at. So when we're thinking about how to be patient in our life, when we're thinking about how to be faithful in our life, we consider the prophets and remember what they endured. And for us, not just the prophets of the Old Testament, we can remember other saints. We can remember the saints of old. Gosh, we can remember the saints in our lives, the faithful people in our life who were faithful. It may not have always been easy. It may not have always happened like they wanted it, but we can remember their example of how they were faithful for doing the right thing. And that can be our example as well. So, today, these are some good words to us today about complaining. Just watch how your soul feels when you grumble against one another. Watch how your faith feels after you grumble or complain against someone else. So just be careful. Be careful of how you speak about other people. Be careful about the conversation that you engage in. Be careful of how you esteem others. I guess another thing about that's so dangerous about complaining so much is that it it lowers our view of other people. It strips away their humanity and strips away the image of God that's upon them. And we begin to not see other people as who they are, which is someone made in the image of God, an image bearer, somebody for whom Christ Jesus died. So that's a word that's a word in this world we live in, which gets so negative all the time. Our social media environments, which gets so negative all the time. A positive post never take off, but complaining always does. So just be careful not to grumble against each other, because I mean James says you'll be judged. So that's a whole nother can of worms we had to open up today. But complaining is not good for our souls. So let's be careful of those conversations and what they do to us. And then let's consider the prophets and how they were patient and how they suffered because they were longing for something that was not of this world, something that is eternal in the heavens, something not made with human hands, but made by God. So we can endure a lot because we have the patience that comes and the hope that comes from knowing this world is not our home. So, hey, thanks for being with us today. We're going to continue in our Advent readings tomorrow morning. So I look forward to continuing in our devotional God in the morning. Have a great rest of your day. See you then.